Content warning, y'all. We have lots of fun making this podcast, but remember, we watch a lot of R-rated films, use language that reflects that, and joke about heavy topics to create levity around these themes. If that doesn't feel safe or could be triggering, please take care of yourself. We want you to have fun listening too. This also means we might not be suitable for children. Oh yeah, and we spoil the end of all the movies we pod about. Thanks for listening.
There must be a mother. Hello?
This episode is brought to you by Javalia. The coffee you can sometimes get for $4 for 5 pounds. Comes in a cool yellow bag.
It's all I drink. And maybe you will drink it too.
Thanks, Javalia.
For Javaling it right. No, I know. Never mind. I take it back. So I'm Z.
Oh, hey, Z. What's up? I'm Keith.
Oh, nice to meet you. That eye roll and shrug. Like some people will, I promise you, be only tuning into this one. So yeah, introducing ourselves.
Only this one.
Yes.
No previous, no further.
Nope. They'll be like, let me check this out. Ooh, yikes.
Junior.
Yeah. Well, this week we're talking about the film from the year 1994 called Junior. So if you've never seen it before and don't want it spoiled, you can pause this, watch it, and then hit play again. But if you don't care, keep listening.
I don't feel like there's a whole lot to spoil with this one. Necessarily. But
yeah,
it isn't spoiled by the title.
Yeah, well, also, yeah, it isn't spoiled by the fucking poster, movie
the
poster.
Cover art, yeah.
The only thing that gets spoiled is what does he actually have a baby in it, or does I don't know if this is true. So the premise of the film is that
who is your baby and what does he do?
Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger are trying to play like scientists and doctors or whatever who are trying to get
Danny DeVito's an OBGYN.
Right, but I said scientist and doctor.
Well, didn't say who was who.
Yeah, but I think they're both whatever.
They have a drug that they're trying to develop.
That helps with infertility. Like if someone it
helps prevent miscarriage, I think is the idea.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's a form of infertility.
Okay.
You're not being able to carry a baby to term, basically.
Okay. Yep.
So they practice on monkeys, ovs, and then once they get going with that, they want to do human testing or something like that, or they want to get approval.
They try to get FDA approval.
Yeah. And the FDA is like, So they're really frustrated, and because the FDA doesn't approve it, their program at the university that they work with,
their funding.
Yeah, cuts their funding. But they have an excess of the drug available, just enough for, to keep to try it out on someone. So they're thinking about trying, they want to get someone to have, they're like, okay, well, we want to ask a woman to do this. And then they realize that it's likely impossible to
it's illegal also.
Well, yeah, it's illegal, but it's also impossible to have someone be you're not going to be hey, want to try this experimental drug that could affect you forever. So they come up with the idea that they could, since it's basically, I don't know, it doesn't make sense, but the sign, it could get a cis male pregnant, essentially, or like a baby could be formed inside the body of a cis male with this drug. So Arnold, through some persuasion from Danny DeVito, decides to go ahead and get pregnant. And so he just spends the majority of the film with child, but it's secret because they're not supposed to be, their program lost funding. They basically they cut all of everything for it. And, so they don't have any permission. The FDA hasn't approved anything. So they're doing all this stuff illegally and really under the table. But it comes to light that the embryo that Danny DeVito stole from a colleague's lab.
It's a egg, not an embryo.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The egg. Yeah, because, anyway.
Egg.
Egg. Titled Junior is actually the colleague's egg. So then they are with a moral dilemma of, okay, well, I'm having my colleague's baby. So I have to let them know. And then, and then hilarity ensues. For the most part, I would say the thing I did feel like a lot, there was not, there was some towards the end, but there was not the level of gender jokes that I thought there were going to be. And it was not as it wasn't nearly as transphobic as I thought it could be.
Well,
it basically is just yeah, okay, well, science lets men get pregnant, so that's what's happening. And there wasn't much of you're a man. There wasn't as much of that as I thought there was going to be, which I was okay. And there was a lot of stuff that was more, they were more concerned about getting caught for doing this not on the up and up than they were about it being a big jokey joke that, a man was pregnant. And I'm not saying they don't do any of that. That's not my intention. It's just I was expecting the whole movie. Because I did watch this, as a kid or whatever. I watched this movie as a young person. But I didn't remember if, anything was really. So I was kind of impressed. I was okay, this very much could have been that movie that's just brutally awful,
right.
About gender roles and shit, and it
similar to Mr. Mom, where it's not as
right. And again, I'm not saying you watch it and you're nothing about this could ever be interpreted as transphobic. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the whole movie doesn't consist of it.
Right.
They definitely make jokes every now and then, but and there's one time where Danny DeVito says something that Arnold is acting he says something to him you should have gotten you should have ended the pregnancy, and then he's because you're acting like a woman, and he's take it back, and he's okay, you're not a woman, and he's no, take back that I should have had an abortion.
Yeah. Can't you do anything right, Larry?
Wait, don't start with me. If you'd have stopped taking the expectane when you were supposed to, none of this would be an issue right now.
What a horrible thing to say.
Was the truth. Keeping it going was your idea, not mine. Women have such convenient memories when they're pregnant.
Now take that back.
That was a Freudian slip. I know you're not a woman.
No, the part about I should have ended it. Junior heard that. Now take it back.
Crying out loud. Okay, I take it back.
And it's I was oh, I like that because he's not saying he doesn't give a shit that he's trying to insult him by calling him out. He doesn't fucking care at all about that. He's whatever. No, you're literally insulting my child.
Yeah.
And I was oh, I like that because he's no, you need to apologize for saying that. And it's the whole, and the woman remark is not even he doesn't even give a shit. And he's And like, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's like, he doesn't take it as an insult, but he also is like, it's like sort of like, what? Why would I care?
However, the whole third act,
yeah,
Arnold is staying at this sort of hospice
Yeah,
for pregnant women.
Hospice.
Resort. Spa.
a death camp for
Yeah, exactly. Where moms go to die.
horrible joke.
Yeah, this place doesn't really make sense because they don't
Well,
have any...
it's like a spa for like pregnant women, and the implication is like it's a spa for like women who are like about to give birth, like who are like later in their pregnancy, and it's like who are like under a lot of stress and need like to relax and have like a healing environment, which is like, okay, that's an interesting concept to have, like, and I'm sure those places exist, but I'm like, it doesn't seem like it actually is that at all. No. Also, there's like no doctors.
Yeah,
there's
no medical staff.
Yeah, which,
and a lot of the rooms are up. Very
lot
of stairs.
Very narrow stairs that are like very tall.
The point being, he's
he dresses like
passing as a woman.
Yeah,
presumably a cis woman.
Yeah, he's trying to, which is my only thing that I was like, okay, he's not wearing any makeup. Which I was like, oh, I kind of like that because they do that thing where they'll like do like really, really, really like, Sweet November style makeup, and you're just like, makeup. Come on, and they go and it's like very, very like, but weird.
Just heads up, if you have any,
it's not good. I'm not saying that, but I was like, at least they're not.
Could be triggering. If you have any gender.
Not great.
Okay, we're going to take a break real quick. Be right back.
My nipples are very sensitive. What?
My nipples, they feel like kind of tingling.
Like tingling like sore or like itchy?
You surf?
Huh?
Surf. Because I got that a lot from paddling out. It's something about the wax and the salt water. It irritates them.
You get what?
His nipples are tingling.
I don't surf.
It could be your laundry detergent. I used to get that when I used a non-biodegradable soap.
Thank you very much for your concern. It's very nice.
Or it could be that polyester shirt.
Yeah. I feel like anytime.
Oh, I wanted to say.
I just want to say, anytime that I'm like.
No, I wanted to say.
Exasperated during the podcast, I'm like, okay, anyway, it's probably because I have to pee. And I'm just like,
not because I'm talking over you constantly.
No, that is a different level of exasperation. That I'm just like, okay. That's what that sounds like.
The shit they do when they're checking in, and Arnold's like,
oh yeah, no, all that.
When I was part of East German.
Oh yeah, when he's like, he took anabolic steroids, and that's why he looks so manly. Like, yeah. I'm like, no, you don't.
That's not good. Also, he's only wearing pink the whole time. Anyway. Also,
so, yeah.
I wanted to backtrack a little bit to say that, like, he's injected with the fertilized egg.
Yeah.
All that you said was he got pregnant, so I didn't know if
yeah.
It's magical science because
that's what
clearly
I mean, like,
he wouldn't be able to just inject a zygote into or embryo into his perineal
cavity. I tried to Google that and I couldn't find anything that was so I don't know, which is like
also then he starts immediately exhibiting the symptoms of pregnancy, like
there's
morning
stuff
sickness and shit.
There's stuff that's like semi confusing because I'm like, okay, like he is taking hormones,
right?
Yeah. Anyway,
and there's that comment that so Frank Langella plays the university administrator that's in charge of their funding or whatever.
Yeah,
and he has an assistant that he has to do some digging or whatever. Because I think they're still producing the drug.
Right.
But also, to further backtrack, when they get kicked out, Emma Thompson comes in, and she's like a leading researcher on, she's like preserving ova.
Something like that, yeah. Well, they don't get kicked.
And that's how it ends up that
she
lets them still have access to the lab.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I think
Danny DeVito. I mean, kind of.
Yeah,
it's unclear,
like.
But that's how Danny DeVito ends up stealing what turns out to be her eggs.
Yeah.
From the quote
her
dairy section.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, but when we pulled up the movie to watch, the poster is just Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Emma Thompson, and Keith just doesn't believe that he knows who anyone actually is. So if he thinks he recognizes someone, he assumes he's wrong. So he just looked at it and he was like, not Emma Thompson.
Which is also a joke we do. Like if we see we describe actors by who they kind of look like by saying, not this person.
Right. So yeah, Emma Thompson plays. So I want to say that she's like the klutzy, like she's like her whole thing. But I feel like Emma Thompson does really good with it.
She does.
Yeah, which it reminded me of the movie Evolution,
which I haven't seen.
Yeah, I've seen it multiple times because it has Ted Levine in it, who I was like obsessed over.
Oh, really?
I fucking love Ted Levine so much. Anyway,
Buffalo Bill.
Yes, I fucking love Ted Levine. Also he plays Detective Stottlemyre in Monk.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in it. Anyway, so Julianne Moore is in Evolution, and she plays the scientist who's super klutzy, and it is done so bad. I want you to watch it just so that you can see how fucking...
Yeah, I feel like I should watch it.
It's like this thing where there's like a pratfall, but it's like she stops and then like fall. It's like so very clearly, obviously faked and like done with like, tumble, oops, you know, kind of shit. And you're like, oh my God. So like Emma Thompson just being like, fucking bumping into people and like not noticing and like all kinds of shit. She does so well. Also, I fucking love Emma Thompson. She's so fucking hot. Good fucking God. She's so hot. Ugh, it pains me. But she's also a good actor.
They also, I mean, it's borderline for me. Like some of the gags they do.
Oh, yeah.
But none of them are the ones that bother me aren't the ones that are about her performance. Like they do a gag where it's like you see a waiter retrieving a lobster claw from a table and bringing it back to them. So the implication is that she was like,
like
the claw flew across the restaurant when she was trying to eat it, but you don't see it.
Yeah.
So that's not about. Anyway, I thought it was just on the edge for me of like not overdoing it.
Oh yeah.
But the ones that rely on her physical performance are great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
like she keeps getting run into running into someone on rollerblades. Anyway.
I was just gonna say like her. Like, yeah, she comes in and she's, like, going to be working. Like, this is the thing that's very confusing because... I can't. Oh, God. Okay. So, the day that they get, like, notified that the FDA disproved, like, rejected...
Turns them down.
Yeah, turns them down. They're closing the program. They decide to close the program down because the FDA and Emma Thompson is already like coming in. Yeah. So they've already hired someone else. So like you were already out the door. Like it's not up to the FDA. Like that's not what was going on. But
I need you to be extremely careful with this.
Oh, lady, if I hear that one more time out of you.
It's very fragile. I've got to set the level for the incliners.
They don't touch
You really shouldn't even be...
Help me! Help me! Help me now! Thank you.
There's nothing that's supposed to do. Get off me.
Sorry.
No! No!
Frank Is it Langella? Oh God, I don't know how to say
Langella?
it. Langella? Is
I think
that
so.
okay? Frank Langella walks up to Danny DeVito and says, "Wicked bad news about the project."
Oh yeah, what?
Wicked bad news.
I know.
With no Boston accent
No.
whatsoever. It's not like wicked bad news. Like not.
Also,
I mean,
this
I
is
can't
set in the Bay Area. It's not.
wicked. And like Frank Langella just has that like very like
Yeah.
wicked bad news about that. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that was a wild choice.
Also, anytime, so Frank Langella, I remember him most from Lolita, the movie Lolita with Jeremy Irons and Dominique Swain. I cannot remember what his name is in that movie. I just remember that there is a scene where he is, God, I can't remember anyone's name from the story, but other than Lolita.
Oh, yeah.
But Jeremy Irons has like, because Jeremy Irons is, has Lolita or whatever. And whose name isn't really Lolita. And Frank Langella, like, basically, like, takes her from him. Like, he lures her away from him. And Jeremy Irons tracks him down to, like, get her back. But it takes, like, a long time. And she's, like, not even with him anymore. But he finds the guy, and he's chasing... I
have a certain set of skills.
It's, like, such a fucked up movie. But, so he finds Frank Langella, who's just, like, a crazy old man, essentially. And he's just, like, at his piano, just wearing a robe and nothing else. And Jeremy Irons is, busts in and has a gun. And so Frank Langella is running through his house away from Jeremy Irons, who's like, I'm going to kill you. And his robe is just, like, fully open, and he's just, like, running, and his, like, dick is fully exposed, and he's just running through. So every time I see Frank Langella in anything, I just see him open robe running with his, like, dick hanging out. And that's how I remember Frank Langella. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm his wiener. His little wiener. So, yeah.
Frank and the... Peenbot. Humperdinck or something like that? Isn't that the...
Oh, yeah, Humperdinck. Yeah, that's...
Something like that?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I've never read it, never watched any version of the film because...
Also, oh, God. So when they steal Emma Thompson's egg, like, they're going to fertilize the egg. They don't know it's Emma Thompson's egg.
Right.
They just steal an egg, makes it much better that way. So they get this egg, but, like, they're fertilizing it with Arnold semen. Fine. Barf, but fine.
Hot goo, please.
So, it's already established.
Now's not the time.
It's already established that they have the latest videotapes when...
Oh, yeah.
For, like, jerking it off. When Chris Maloney is introduced. I said... I love Chris Maloney, but I was like, oh my God, that's Chris Maloney. And you said, is it? How do you recognize him? And I said, I'd know that forehead anyway. Anyway, I'm hilarious.
Even though he has hair in this movie.
Yeah, but that forehead it's just...
I feel you.
It's so teased. Like, his hair is so teased, but it's like, that just makes the forehead longer. Anyway. So Arnold, like, Danny DeVito is smoking a cigarette, like, pacing...
Cigar. Isn't it?
It is? I thought it was a cigarette.
I'm pretty sure it's a cigar.
Okay. So he's smoking...
Because remember I said, this is why Danny and Arnold are friends.
I didn't know why you said that, because it looked like a cigarette to me at the time. So I didn't get it. Anyway. So he's just pacing outside, and I was like, why is he just pacing in the hall? Like, what's going on? And then Arnold walks out and, like, hands him, and he's like, whoa. Or he's, like, makes a note of, like, how much is in there. He's like, and it didn't hit me at first, and I was like, oh my God. And it really you didn't have to, it looks like, hopefully it was just, like, conditioner or something, but, like, oh God, I don't want to think about, I am too gay for that.
You just hate all men and all their biologically determined parts. The God determined only they have. Anyway.
I get the joke.
Thanks. But yeah, it's like it's a sample cup, and there's like
full.
There's like an inch worth of.
At least there's so much. Oh,
he's like, so that's quite a load there, buddy. Who's that? I don't sound like Danny DeVito. Also, Danny DeVito's character's name is Arbogast, which only stuck in my brain because that's like the detective that gets killed in Psycho.
Oh.
And because of my good friend Brian Flota, who's a huge fan of Psycho and was since his teens, he would also just say Arbogast. That was one of the things he would say often because that's how somebody says it in that movie. So I kept saying it during this movie.
That's why. Okay, that's why you kept saying it. I was like, I'm not getting the reference.
Yeah.
So there. Okay. Just no. Yeah. The whole Aerosmith pregnancy bit.
Oh, yeah. So Pamela Reed plays Danny
DeVito's.
He plays Dr. Arbogast's ex-wife.
Yeah.
You may, for fans of the pod, you may remember Pamela Reed was also in Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
Another Arnold Ivan Reitman jam.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's also pregnant at the same time.
Yeah.
And the recurring joke is that first we think it's someone in Aerosmith, but it's someone who is just touring with Aerosmith.
It was their personal trainer.
Personal trainer, as if.
But I think it's funny because it's when people used to always tell me that I look like Liv Tyler, but they would tell me I look like Liv Tyler. They would say, you look like Aerosmith's daughter. And I was like, I don't think you know what that means because that's not a person. They're like, oh my God, you look like Aerosmith's daughter. And I was like, I look like an amalgamation of all of the members of Aerosmith came together and made a child.
Yep.
Like,
phrasing.
I am ugly is what you're saying.
Right. With lots of hair.
Yeah. Big hair, I think.
Yeah.
Big. Huge.
Grande mistake. What is it? Mucho grande?
Venti.
It reminds me, and then, in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Oh, God.
When she says mucho mistake. Or whatever.
Oh, God.
Mucho bad mistake. Fucking.
But when
I was in high school in the early 90s and I went to a Halloween party and I didn't have a costume, but I decided to put on long johns and like a flannel or whatever. It wasn't cold enough for that in Southern California. It was only October and it never gets that cold. But then an adult at that party said, "Are you a Nirvana?"
And you said, mm-hmm.
I said, "Yes."
I've noticed that the side effects of pregnancy are greatly amplified with the dosage of expectant that I've required. You know, the morning sickness, the mood swings, sleepiness, sexual appetite.
Sexual appetite?
Yesterday, just scooping the middle out of a honeydew melon gave me a Steifen.
What? Oh, that's normal. I get them all the time.
Alexander Enberg is in this movie, who plays Vorik and Torik.
Oh, that's right.
On Star Trek Voyager and Star Trek The Next Generation, respectively. I met him at a convention.
Ooh.
Yeah. He's really nice.
Ooh, did I ever send you a dick pic?
Nope.
Tweeter?
Nope. No, I never interacted with him on social media. Not long after that, he had like an aneurysm or something.
Oh, fuck.
He's not dead as far as I know. He just like had to go through like severe. Yeah,
That's
like
horrible.
he had to go through like physical therapy. Like he wasn't able to like talk for a long time, and like it was like a whole thing. Yeah. But I met him at a convention, and he was really chill. He was really nice, and it was like I was like an awkward, horrible because I met him outside of the convention. I met him. I was in line at a coffee shop where he was. I know, And I was like, oh my God. And he was like, oh, are you guys at the can? Full disclosure, I wasn't able to afford to get into the convention. So I was literally just hanging out outside of it in hopes that I would like
something like that would happen.
Yeah. And yeah, he was just like, oh, are you guys going to the convention? We were like, yes, totally. And he was like, oh, it's so cool. And we were just like, yeah. And it was a lot of, he was just so nice. He was like extremely nice. And I was very awkward. But yeah, he was like, he's a really chill, sweet dude. And so anytime I see him, I'm like, ah! But yeah.
I don't particularly like those characters, but I do feel like his portrayal is one of the better
Really good,
Vulcans, especially for non.
He's the only canonical Vulcan twin.
Oh, really?
Torque and Bork. Yep. Canonically twins. Yep. Which is wild. I don't know why they didn't just... I mean, I think it's like licensing. I think they have to do weird shit where they can't. Like, depending on who wrote it, like who...
Like what they do with Marduk? Marmalade?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Benzite or whatever he is. We just watched the episode where Wesley tests to get into...
Mordak?
That's what I said. I don't know why you're confused.
Mukduk Marmaduke. Anyway, that was a I really like just like the idea of like, God, Emma Thompson in this, I just can't. I love her so much.
There's also this fairly...
Remember the scene though when Arnold has the dream where he's birthing his baby Arnold?
Oh yeah, that's great. Some awesome CG. Late 90s CG.
Woo!
He looks like the Koopas or whatever from the Super Mario Brothers movie, with Dennis Hopper. That's what it reminded me of.
I've never seen that movie.
I've never actually watched it either, but...
Dennis Hopper.
Mm-hmm. And Bob Hoskins, I think, is in it.
Bob Hoskins. Yep. Ugh, R.I.P., man. He was great.
Yeah. We should probably watch Mermaids. Huh?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that since...
I haven't seen that in a very long
time.
Yeah.
The day.
I didn't have any reaction.
Yeah! Yeah, they do this thing where when they lie to Emma Thompson about like their cover for, I don't know why it comes up, when they start lying to her about why they're acting fishy.
Because they can't,
that Arnold has some rare disease that's named after his hometown go figure. It's named after his hometown in Austria.
Yeah.
But they make up the name. It's like Blandersbergen syndrome or whatever. And the only symptom seems to be that you get tired and fat.
Yeah.
So there's some fat, phobic, stupid shit jokes.
I do love
They call him, what do they call him? Like pastry hound or something like that?
I cannot. I will never remember.
So only noteworthy, really, because as stated on our Kindergarten Cop episode, that's like the first movie where you hear him speaking German.
Oh, yeah.
There's lots of German words, made up or otherwise, in this movie.
I do love the part though when he's like.
Unfortunately, Pamela Reed doesn't pretend to be German or Austrian.
He's like pregnant and he's like his body is changing, and he's like getting, like a belly or whatever. And he's like like Emma Thompson and him have like this moment, and she's just like he says something about like
yeah, that's the other complication is they start to have a flirtation.
But like he like implies that because she like says something like she like can't get him off of her mind, and he's like do you think he like implies that maybe it's like sexual in nature, and she's like, oh, I hadn't actually thought about that, and he's like, does my body disgust you?
Yeah.
And she's like, what? And he's like, my body. Does it disgust you? And I'm like, God, I relate so much to that.
But then her response is like, no, I had a crush on my cousin who was portly.
I'm like, I feel like that's like an insult to English people too, because it's like, there's like a really, I don't know, like.
Is that a stereotype about British people?
Well, like, there's lots of like royal inbreeding and shit like that.
That's the Royals, though.
Yeah, I know, but like people will. I think maybe I'm mistaken, but I think people make like unfounded. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm saying I feel like it was just it's slight at like like
right.
She liked her cousin who was portly.
I mean, I had crushes on cousins as a kid.
Yeah.
Look, nothing ever came of it, so I want to get out in front of it right now.
Oh.
Or what is it? What does Teddy say? Like,
Hers,
that was my third cousin. And
no, it was my second cousin and third base. Your cousin, and you got to second base with your cousin. It was my second cousin, and we got to third base. I don't know how true it is, but in the IMDb trivia, it said the original ending was like a complicated like abortion scene, and like it was judged to be like, which I'm like, how did that even get greenlit in the first place?
Yeah.
I'm very confused about that. And it said like it was they had to do like the ending was deemed to be like too like
contagious.
Like, yeah, well, it was like too like not politically, but like too.
So it's just like why bring up abortion? You know that's
right.
Gonna be
Also, like, well, yeah, it was like too like culturally like hot button issue. They were like, this is gonna people are gonna like this is gonna like this is like a funny feel good you know jokey movie. Like why have like a complicated? We have to have an abortion.
Right.
What the fuck? So they had to do a bunch of reshoots. It said like complicated reshoots, which I'm like, aren't all reshoots complicated?
Right.
So they had to do a bunch of reshoots to change the ending from an abortion. I'm like, why would you? And again, I mean, like abortion, like whatever, like it should be legal and free for everyone, and it shouldn't, no shame to anyone who had an abortion at all.
The fucking stupid
but
issue
it,
that
yeah,
it is
but
here.
it shouldn't. Yeah, but it shouldn't be the joke of at the end of like a
Correct.
movie about infertility.
Right.
Like,
Right.
What the fuck? Oh my God. We want to help women who cannot carry a pregnancy to term. So we're going to do that by making a movie where the end is a giant abortion scene. Like, that's.
I wonder if whoever wrote that meant just like a miscarriage.
Oh, yeah. I wonder. Yeah. Because people do conflate those two.
Yeah, and I think in
other
languages, I think
yeah.
they have different meanings, those words. Like,
yeah.
It could get translated.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, people, like, sometimes.
Because if you remember in Malice, when Baldwin is talking to Pullman and saying, like, well, it turns out she's pregnant. He's like, oh, we're going to have a kid. And he's like, no, it was aborted during the surgery.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, not that they performed an abortion.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I was gonna say also like that is a term that like if a miscarriage I think is when it happens like naturally, and an abortion is something where it doesn't. So like if something happens, I think that's the thing where it's like it can get fuzzy because like if something happens to cause it, whereas it wouldn't have happened anyway, I think it might, technically be considered an abortion.
Right. Like
which is like, whatever. Who cares? Yeah. But it's that thing where it's like, abortion is so taboo. Yeah. Miscarriage is fine. And it's like, no, they're both, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, one of them is sometimes by choice.
Right.
And the other one isn't.
Right.
But like, that's it. Like the only thing is that sometimes one of them is by choice, but not always. Like they're just like they essentially mean the same thing, which is not, like
the baby doesn't survive.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it.
Doesn't come to
term. Or the fetus,
right. Sorry.
The fetus doesn't
come to term.
Yeah, I was thinking of a different word.
Oh.
The fetus is not doesn't go to fruition. That's not what I was thinking, but that
doesn't traverse the birth canal and stay alive. Any hoozle.
When the baby's born, it's covered in red and white goop, which I've said this to you, but I've never said it on the podcast.
I think you have.
On the podcast? I don't think so.
Go
Maybe
on.
I have. But cream cheese and jelly. That's what it is on a baby. And when they show like the birth on like TV and shit, because they have to.
I thought you were giving a sex ed class.
Because they have to use like things that are like
edible,
not like gonna hurt the baby, and like, which I mean, I think whatever.
You can't feed a baby honey. Why is it okay to slather it in cream cheese and?
It's all natural. I don't know. But you can't feed a baby honey.
Yeah, because of the microbes. They don't.
Oh, wow.
They don't have the
the
intestinal flora to handle the.
Oh wow, that's wild. That's interesting.
Yeah, I only learned that working at a grocery where the honey is labeled "Don't feed to infants."
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That it would be labeled that since you can't. Yeah, but it's always. But it was like a teenager, and I saw like some like talk show where they were talking about like the things they do in movies and stuff like that, and someone like showed an example by like getting jelly and cream cheese and smearing it all over a baby doll. So like it's all I can think of whenever I see like a birth on TV.
What a horrible thing to choose to illustrate.
No,
and in that way,
it's always what the only thing I can think of when I see like a birth on TV. I'm like, that's just cream cheese and jelly.
You do say it almost every time.
Every time I'm like cream cheese and jelly.
As previously hinted at, this is directed by Ivan Reitman.
Previously hinted at.
This is the third, meaning the latest chronologically.
Yeah.
And
final.
Yeah. Of the movies Reitman and Arnold did together. What?
I was just remembering was it Charlie Rose? The Charlie Rose.
Yeah, we watched a little bit of a interview with Ivan Reitman and on Charlie Rose talking about this movie.
Good Lord. That was.
Did not watch much of it.
It was painful.
We also remember the interview with Danny DeVito.
Oh God.
With like local.
Oh man. I like that Ivan Reitman said that like in the audition process or whatever, like something screen test or something, like Emma Thompson like got on the floor and rolled around with Arnold Schwarzenegger and then was like, "We're gonna do well together." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Emma Thompson, I'm free if you want to roll around on the floor with me. Just letting you know. I was gonna say, the scene. So when they let slip to Emma Thompson that it's her baby that he's carrying, and she gets like really upset, which is fine. Totally understandable.
Understandable.
She's like, wow, feels like a violation and all kinds of bad stuff. But then when Arnold is at the Institute for designing a pregnancy.
Why are you coming at me that way?
I couldn't think of
Institute for designing a pregnancy.
First of all, I forgot. They have a horrible musical montage.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Just awful song.
Turns out that song was by Patti Smythe, not Smith. Also not Judy Collins, who is in this movie. And I'm like, oh, that must be Judy Collins.
Oh, right.
Judy Collins song. And I wrote down the worst montage played during the worst song. Or vice versa. The worst song played during the worst montage.
Yeah, no, terrible.
It's
terrible
in the third act when he's at the retreat
like,
place.
Yeah.
And it's like...
in drag and it's just him running up and down the stairs a bunch.
Hanging
and
out
like,
with other pregnant women and
Yeah.
looking in pain. And
yeah. Although I do it like, I mean, whatever. Like, I'm a cheeseball, so like I enjoy stuff like this. But where they're all like anonymously like writing down their fears about motherhood.
Oh, yeah.
And he writes down that he, like, you're assuming that he's written it down, but it's all anonymous. Like, they're like, don't worry, you can say anything. Like, your name's not on this. We're not going to, like, This is just a place to get your fears out. And, you assume that he writes down, like, he's not a natural mother, and he worries, like, he's not going to be able to take care of his kid. And she's like, that's, no one's naturally a mother. No one's born maternal. Like, that's not something, like, we all have the capacity to become. And I was like, oh, I like that a lot because, like, it also means that you're not born a bad parent. It's like you make decisions that are good or bad, but you're not it's not like inherently in your blood to be a shitty parent or a good parent. It's based on the decisions and like making those choices.
No, it's based upon biological science.
And I don't know. I was like, oh, I like that a lot because it also wasn't. I mean, even though they're using like maternal, like she's saying like no one's born maternal and stuff. And I felt like there was a sense of like it not being totally gendered because I think they did it on purpose to because it's like Arnold and it's not, and it's addressing his fear as a man, which is valid, like that a man, you can be a man and be pregnant and wants to be a good parent and not be a mom, so it's like, I don't know. I just enjoyed that they were like kind of not super gendering. Like they're like, you're a mother because you give birth. They weren't really saying that. They were like, you take care of your kid. Yeah. I don't know. I was just like,
just because you carried the baby, you're automatically.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like, you have the capacity, like if you don't feel like you're a maternal person, you still have the capacity to be a good, like caring, like mother or parent. And I was like, oh wow, I really I liked that a lot. It was similar to like when we watched Twins.
A tiny little moment in the movie.
Yeah, especially during that whole horrible scene. But it reminded me of like in Twins, that same like where he's like, oh, you're everything good and I'm everything bad. And he's like, yeah, you grew up in the worst environment possible with no privilege and no like help. Right. And I got everything handed to me. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be a little different. Right. And I was like, whoa, all right. That what? Yeah. So like that was like, it was the same. I felt like it was a similar vein of like, okay, even though this is a jokey movie about this stuff, let's talk about let's talk about nature versus nurture a little bit. Like this stuff isn't like you're lied to when you're told that you're gonna be a good mom because you're a woman, quote unquote, right. Or, you have this natural instinct that makes you a good parent, You're
going to be a good dad because you drink all the time. Because you're an alcoholic. Because you're a workaholic. Because you fuck around on your partner.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a given.
Because you're never home. Because you have another family that you've already given up on.
But right after that scene, Emma Thompson shows up. And she's like, I'll be damned if someone's going to have my baby without me having sex with them.
I'll be damned if I have a baby with a man I haven't slept with.
Yeah, or something like that. And call me old-fashioned. Yeah. And they like, I kind of like it because I feel like, I don't know, like there's certain aspects of the movie that's
Get some!
There are certain aspects of the movie where I'm like, it's actually like saying something. I don't think it was intentional to say something, but it's actually saying something because it's like Arnold is like, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's known for his like body, his build, being like a dude, being, very, masculine. And he's like he does kind of act very feminine in this movie. And I don't think he does a bad job of it. It's not done purely for humor. Like they address the fact that, he cares about this baby and stuff like that. But it's not like because I'm hormonal, like it's never like that. It's just like, he's just like, why would I want to give up my baby? Like, why would I want to do that?
Also it's established before he gets, that he's having dreams about children and having kids and being a parent.
Yeah.
And he also doesn't have a partner. He's
Right.
kind of lonely.
Yeah.
That's kind of established as this character.
But I want to say...
and that he, when they're doing the experiment after like 3 months or something, like a trimester, Danny's like, okay, it's getting too hot.
Yeah,
They're gonna find us out.
Yeah.
We gotta stop.
Right. Yeah.
And Arnold continues to take
he
the
says,
drug
okay, I'll stop, and
own.
then he keeps going and like hides the fact so that he can have this baby. Oh.
What happened?
You hit the.
What I hit?
You hit the adjuster bar.
The adjuster bar.
I don't know. But I want to say, like, he's getting a belly,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, of course, there's like some fat jokes. Ugh,
Mm-hmm.
They gotta throw in that pinnacle of humor to let we couldn't think of anything else to say, so we had to put a fat joke in.
Yep.
But I feel like again, it's not it's not like, oh, you're ugly, and the fact that like while he's like 9 months pregnant with a baby, he's boning down with like Emma Thompson, and she's like attracted to him, and like there's no like,
right,
like she does say like, when he's like, oh, is my body disgusting, and she's like, oh, because you've gained weight. She's like, no, I like that. I think it looks good,
right.
and it's like they kind of make her being like, oh, I like my cousin who was fat, but I'm like, yeah, they're not. That's basically the only time it comes up.
Yeah.
Like for her, like she's like his body is like changing, and he, he's got like a belly. He's literally carrying a child, and he's like having sex, and he's being sexualized, and but not in a creepy way. He's allowed agency in that way, and I mean, part of it is probably because he's a man, but like,
right.
I liked that. I was like, okay,
yeah,
I really like that. Yeah, I was like, so like there was like stuff like that where it was like, if you really like when I was like, no, I want him to have sex as a pregnant person,
right?
Like I want, like I want, it's very plausible and believable that someone would be attracted to him, even pregnant. Like that's not weird to me. That's not absurd, and it wasn't treated as though it was,
right.
And I don't know. I liked little things like that. Like, again, of course the movie has some transphobia. Of course the movie does gender stuff weird. But for being 1994 and a movie about a man getting pregnant, it was there was a lot more to it than I thought there was going to be. Like there was a lot more to take away from it than I thought there was going to be.
Fair enough.
And I think it was like funny and cute. And, like, not a horrible, like, in parts, not the whole thing, obviously, but, like, and there was humor, and the only thing I hated was the end.
Yeah.
When they were like, a year later,
Emma
Thompson is 9 months pregnant. And I'm like, oh, what?
I like how they set it up for a sequel, though, by suggesting that Danny DeVito and Pamela Reed might have another kid.
Yeah.
And that she doesn't necessarily have to carry it.
Like, anyway, like, I mean, not to say that, like people would want to see Danny DeVito. I just mean no one wants a sequel to this. Like one's good.
Yeah.
One's
probably
pushing
good.
it. One's pushing it.
Yeah.
Let's
do it again. Only this time Danny's the one carrying.
I mean, oh god. I'm surprised they're not doing a
reboot?
Yeah, or like
Junior
senior or something like
yes.
that.
I would watch that. No, I wouldn't. I'd watch it in 20 years if we're still doing this.
Yeah. God. Yeah.
They both end on the beach like this and throw Mama from the train?
Yeah, yeah.
That's not Ivan Reitman, but it's Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Although this one doesn't end in a horrible fat-phobic attack on Danny DeVito like throw Mama from the train. Good Lord.
What was interesting to me was compared to Twins especially, I felt Arnold and Danny DeVito's acting, like Arnold very much seems like he's acting.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah, he's taken some classes between those two films.
He's seems restrained or something in a way that I haven't. He isn't in any of the other comedies that I've seen him in.
But what do you mean restrained?
Well,
I view restrained as like not putting forth everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean like holding back, like he's phoning it in or something. I don't mean it that way. I mean like he's doing a character. Like his character's very nerdy, and he's very Whereas in Twins, he's like waka waka kind of. You know what I mean? I mean that's partly the character is that he's innocent and childlike, because he's been isolated. But also Danny DeVito in Twins is like, see. You see what? Hey, I'm a real slime bag.
Is in Twins?
Yeah.
Oh, in Twins. Okay, yeah.
But in this, he's a doctor. He's an upstanding guy, and
well, I think
he's
what you're
still Danny
saying
DeVito,
is they're playing two different characters.
Right, but I'm also saying that.
Yeah.
Even Arnold in like. I mean, yes, it's one of the few times you see him play a character that isn't.
Yeah.
An action hero.
Yes, correct.
So.
Which I enjoy. I liked it. I liked that he wasn't. I mean, other than the scene where he wakes up in the morning after having like a dream about the baby, is like at the very beginning. Like it opens with him like in the library with like babies.
Hello, baby. There's got to be a mother. Where's the mother?
He.
My knees are kind of cold.
Okay.
And I'm caffeinated, and I gotta pee.
Oh, I see. He wakes up and he starts doing like push-ups on his bed, or not push-ups, but sit-ups or whatever, crunches on his bed. Other than that, they don't really emphasize his workout routine, which is something I feel like they do in a lot of. Yeah, right. They make a big deal about how buff he is, and I feel like they don't necessarily do that in this. I think partially because they couldn't have like pregnancy. Like him being pregnant and lifting like 200 pounds and shit like that.
Or doing crunches with that prosthetic belly.
Yeah. They were like, we can't really, I do want to say, I know that you were like, barf, yuck, ew, I hate it. The room that Arnold stays in, all the floral shit everywhere. God, I loved it. Like the floral curtains.
In Danny DeVito's house.
Yes. And
that's
the couch. Yellow stripes with like floral everywhere. God, I want that. I want it so bad. I loved it so much. Like that's something about like the late 80s, early 90s. I like the weird floral on floral shit. Ugh, gimme.
Floral and floral's fine by me. The yellow and white background with the floral on top.
I love it because it's I like it because it's a little bit ugly. That's what I like about it, is a little bit ugly. But I'm just saying. Yeah, no. I'm just saying, like,
I'll allow
if anyone watches it, just know that loved it. Loved it. And, yeah.
Emma Thompson only wears pleated pants in this movie.
Very weirdly unflattering.
Often they're corduroys.
Her and Arnold basically have the same wardrobe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know if I had read this or heard it before, but when we watched the Ivan Reitman on Charlie Rose, they talked about how Arnold approached him.
Yeah, about directing.
About being in his movies because he wanted to start doing comedies. He was like, "You're the Ghostbusters guy."
I think if they were gonna have someone else direct it, and Arnold said he would only do it if Reitman.
I saw that. Yeah,
directed it.
Yeah,
and I think honestly, like, I feel like this is the probably because of everyone who's in it, like. Yeah. Everyone had like, or not every single person. Oh, also, Ada Turturro is in this.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm saying her first name right, but yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Not really. It's not a big
she's
role.
Barely in it. I just mean, like, I love Ada Turturro.
Yeah.
But it's so wild that her, like, despite the fact that they have the same last name, her and John Turturro seem nothing alike.
You would not guess that they are siblings.
I would never guess that they are siblings, ever. Even though they have the last name, I'd be like, that's a weird coincidence. Oh.
Like Galen Matarazzo and, what's her name?
Gaten Matarazzo and Heather Matarazzo.
Galen and Heathrow. Gaten and Heathrow. Maserati.
Or Hugh Grant and Richard E. Grant, who you were.
Oh, man. It's still hard for me to untangle in my brain.
Keith, literally was like, they're brothers. And I was like, what? I had no idea. And he was like, yeah, they're brothers. And I looked at it, I was like, they're not brothers. And he's like, I swear to God. I was like, no, they are not brothers. And he was like, what the fuck?
I'm still not over it.
Yeah.
It's been, what?
It's the entirety of our relationship, pretty much. Like, once we started, because we both are madly in love with Richard E. Grant. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. Fuck me up, Richard E. Grant. I'm just saying.
And I don't think either of us have seen With Nell and I, which is one of his early acclaimed movies.
With...
I don't remember who else is in it.
Like Gary Oldman?
Maybe.
I might have seen that.
Continue.
Anyway, yeah. So, early discovery of our shared love of Richard E. Grant was very early in our relationship. And along with Richard E. Grant and, oh God, I cannot think of his name. And he's from Trust? Martin.
Matthew Slaughter. Yeah, sorry, I was calling his name in Trust. Martin Donovan, yeah.
Martin Donovan, yes. We both, I think Keith says me peeing my pants was when he fell in love with me fully, or was fully committed. But I think truly it's when I said that Martin Donovan, that I was like, oh, I love Martin Donovan.
The fact that you had seen Trust was a big...
You were like, oh my God. You were like, I remember being like, oh, I think he likes me. You were like, oh my God. Because I was like, Martin Donovan. And you were like, yeah, from Trust. And I was like, yeah, I've seen that. And you were like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah.
I don't know. That's With Nell and I.
Oh, Paul McGann. Oh, fuck. So fucking hot. He was the doctor in the Doctor Who movie that was made for America. The only one.
Okay.
Yeah. Paul McGann. So fucking hot. Yeah, maybe I haven't seen this actually. Okay. Yeah. You're right.
Well, I thought we had talked about it. I wasn't just presuming.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't seen this. Okay. This is totally different than I thought it was. Anyway, yeah. Richard E. Grant. Paul McGann.
Neither of them are in this film, but we like them.
No, both of those people are in this film.
They're both in With Nell and I.
Yeah.
They're not in Junior.
Oh. I was like...
But yeah, had 100% decided that Richard E. Grant and Hugh Grant were siblings or somehow related.
Because
I think they look enough alike.
I mean, that's
definitely
fair,
more
that's
than
fair.
Ida and John Turturro look alike.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah.
Richard E. Grant is also in L.A. Story, which was an early...
I haven't seen that. That's one that I need to see. Maybe?
We can watch it for this, if you want.
Okay.
If you want.
mean, I'm fine with it.
It definitely fits the bill of things we saw as young people that had an impact.
Oh, for you?
Yeah.
I was like, as I never saw it. Yeah.
It was also an early bonding point for me and a few select friends.
Aw. That's nice.
Yeah.
That must be nice to have had a few select friends.
Yeah. I got to pee, so...
okay. We wrapping it
let's
up?
peace out.
Out.
Ryan's. Oh.
What?
Well, never mind.
What?
I was going to bring up another film, so that was not the time.
Another podcast, baby. Okay, bye.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye.
How is Babby formed? How do a girl get pregnant? How is Babby formed? How do girl get pregnant? They need to do it and stay. And the mother who killed their babies, 'cause he's Babby can't freak them back. No, the baby, they can't freak them back. It was was on the news this morning. It's a mother in R who would kill her 3 kids. They're taking the 3 baby back to New York to lady to rest my Perry. I'm the father who lost his children, who lost his children. I am truly sorry. I am truly sorry for your loss. I am truly sorry for your loss.
Dr. Hess has left the building.